the federal government has approved the purchase of over 200,000 meters under the meter asset provider scheme at a cost of 11.2 billion naira.
The government says it was prompted to intervene in the meter situation due to the slow pace of power distribution companies. The new scheme is already generating some controversy as some Nigerians are accusing government of exploiting them with the introduction of purchase fees for meters.
Now, another source of controversy is the huge sum government has budgeted for the venture.
Joining me is the company secretary, Moma's Electricity Meter Manufacturing Company Limited, and partner, Canary Legal Services. Yahaya, it's good to have you join me right now.
Good to have you, Mike.
Very good. Now, when it comes to the issue of government intervening, we've had some commendations from stakeholders who say, well, it's a good thing and all of that. But how will this translate now to the issue of the complaints from Nigerians that the discos were actually not living up to expectation?
Well, as you might agree with me, is that our electricity market is still growing. So, and it is never a quick fix all over the world. Different policies, different regulations must be put into play, and the regulator must be responsive in a way to progress with the with the electricity sector. But what we've had now is that the introduction of the new market participant, which is the meter asset provider, is targeted towards closing the metering gap. There have been several policies before now. There's been CAPMI scheme and many others, which hasn't been as successful. The discos, of course, haven't been able to close the metering gap for many reasons, illiquidity in the sectors. Let's put aside the throwing of blames. What the people want is that they want to be able to get uninterrupted power supply and to be billed fairly. The only way to do that, one of the ways to do that, is to deploy a metering system. Who is going to finance this? The discos are saying that they do not have the liquidity to embark on such capital project, and that's why the regulator has responded by introducing the meter asset provider. So I think to everyone's end, it's going to give us a more fair and transparent electricity market and better and more prudent and accountable electricity bill.
All right. I was speaking with a stakeholder sometime who said that this is like opening up the industry to more players, one way, competitive players, and they likened it to the days of GSM and all of that. He talked about the issue of the capacity to create job and employment. How will this really translate to, when it comes to the chain of those who are going to get involved in that? How is it going to play out?
Well, you've said two things. The one is opening it up to like the GSM. I don't quite agree because the distribution companies still own franchise areas. Opening it up to more market participants, yes. I mean, the introduction of MAP, there's a new policy, which is the franchise policy, whereby the discos can actually sub-franchise their distribution franchises, their distribution networks to other stakeholders. That is currently in the talks. Just about 2 weeks ago, NEC had invited for comments, which we sent in, but that it will create jobs. Let's speak specifically on MAP and all the other policies that are coming.
How much is a single unit of meter going to cost in the new dispensation?
The discos had quoted for specifications of meters that they needed, and the maps had submitted quotes. But what the regulator has done is that the regulators actually capped it and put for one face meter at about 37,000, and they put 3 face meters at about 67,000. And then there's option for outright purchase, and then there's option for financing.
All right. Yes. Thank you very much, Yahaya, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Right. Federal government has approved the purchase of over 200,000 meters under the meter asset provider scheme at a cost of 11.2 billion naira.
Government says it was prompted to intervene in the meter situation due to the slow pace of power distribution companies. The new scheme is already generating some controversy as some Nigerians are accusing government of exploiting them with the introduction of purchase fees for meters. Another source of controversy is the huge sum government has budgeted for the venture. Joining me is the company secretary, Moma's Electricity Meter Manufacturing Company Limited, and partner Canary Legal Services, Yahaya. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you, Veronica.
All right, now that the government has again intervened, some have said that the rollout that the Regulatory Commission talked about for May 1st should go on smoothly.
Yes, I mean, May 1st is slightly behind us now.
Of course.
But I can tell you that the distribution companies have already pre-qualified meter asset providers, and licenses have been issued to some of them. Currently, some of them have already signed meter service agreement and service level agreement. Some are still negotiating, and I can confirm to you that the MAPs and the distribution companies are now working together and collaborating towards the rollout as soon as possible.
Now, another challenge for most consumers is access to this 200,000 meters that the government has, paid 11.2 billion for.
Yes.
Some of them do not understand what it would take for them to have access to this.
Well, what you said is pregnant with so many things.
Really?
First, the gap is not 200,000 meters, it's 4.7 million meters.
Of course.
And how the people will have access to that money. The money that the government has actually provided is about 9 billion, which is to purchase the 200,000 meters, which is only a fraction of the metering gap. How the MAP will be able to access that fund, whether through the CBN directly or through the regulator, is presently unclear. Even we don't know.
Really? Why is that?
Because it's only been announced that the government has expressed willingness to make available these funds. How the disbursement of that fund will be, it's not very clear yet. But what I can tell you is that that fund, if made available, is going to really help in closing the metering gap, and is going to give the local manufacturers and the participating MAPs competitive advantage internationally.
When you speak about competitive advantage, how do you mean?
I mean, the world is a global village now, and what you find is what is happening in China, what's happening in Thailand, directly affects us. Just about last month, what we found is that China actually gave $9 billion tax rebate to local manufacturers, and they also get low-cost finances, some of them as cheap as 5%. So if we still continue to struggle with our woes with the commercial banks, with double-decker digit financing, some as high as 28%, and you still have tax-intensive and several infrastructure burdens that you have to personally finance as a local manufacturer or market participant, you find out that the effective cost of your cost of production of the end product is extremely high. So you find that sometimes it might even be cheaper, as you have seen in the Nigerian economy, to buy some things from China than to make them manufacture them locally. So the adverse effects, the effects this actually has on your economy is that you're going to put a lot of strain on your forex, because this is a 500 billion naira market. So you want to put $1.5 billion strain on your forex, you're going to be exporting employment and importing unemployment.
Wow. All right, Yahaya, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much, Veronica.